As Kerala and Bihar head to polls, from Prime Minister to Home Minister, the government is now launching a fresh attack on corrupt politicians. Prime Minister Modi hailed the anti-corruption bill introduced in Parliament, questioning why leaders holding key posts should be allowed to function from jail.
कि भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध लड़ाई को अगर अंजाम तक पहुंचाना है तो कोई भी कार्रवाई के दायरे से बाहर नहीं होना चाहिए। आप सोचिए, आज कानून है कि अगर किसी छोटे सरकारी कर्मचारी को 50 घंटे तक हिरासत में रख दिया तो अपने आप वो सस्पेंड हो जाता है। ड्राइवर हो, छोटा क्लार्क हो, प्यून हो, उसकी जिंदगी हमेशा हमेशा के लिए तबाह हो जाती है। लेकिन अगर कोई मुख्यमंत्री है, कोई मंत्री है, कोई प्रधानमंत्री है, तो वो जेल में रह करके भी सत्ता का सुख पा सकता है। ये कैसे हो सकता है? हमने कुछ समय पहले ही देखा है कि कैसे जेल से ही फाइलों पर साइन किए जा रहे थे, जेल से ही सरकारी आदेश निकाले जा रहे थे। नेताओं का अगर यही रवैया रहेगा तो ऐसे भ्रष्टाचार के विरुद्ध लड़ाई कैसे लड़ी जा सकती है?
And Home Minister Amit Shah too took a swipe at Delhi former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, saying that law would not be necessary had he resigned on time, adding that the bill applies to all, including BJP Chief Ministers and even the Prime Minister. The three bills, which envisage the removal of Prime Minister, Chief Ministers and Ministers arrested on serious criminal charges for 30 days, drew furious response and protest from the opposition shortly after they were introduced by Union Home Minister Amit Shah in Lok Sabha on Wednesday. My colleague Brijesh Pandey joining us live. Brijesh, politics heating up ahead of elections in two crucial states of Kerala and Bihar. But this time with the introduction of Corrupt Netas Bill. What is the bill about and how is it different from existing legislations?
Well, I think, there's never a dull moment as far as Indian politics is concerned, and we are witnessing just that only because, in one day, starting from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Home Minister Amit Shah, in two different locations, one in Bihar and other in Kerala, they made it very clear that the real reason why the opposition is rattled and the real reason why this bill had to be brought. And once again, I think, what Amit Shah has said in a conclave of a private media channel, one thing is very clear, that the slugfest between Aam Aadmi Party and Bharatiya Janata Party is only going to further intensify. Amit Shah has made it very clear that the real reason for bringing this bill was the then Chief Minister of Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal. And the reason why this was done is that because at that point of time he was not holding any other portfolio other than the fact that he was the Chief Minister, and that is the reason why he could not have been forced by the Supreme Court to tender resignation. Now what this new bill does is that the new bill puts the onus of resignation, if it's a minister, on the governor. So for 30 days, if the Chief Minister doesn't take a decision against a sitting minister who is sentenced for prison term beyond 30 days, then he stands automatically disqualified. And the same is the case with the Chief Minister and the Prime Minister. So on one side, the Bharatiya Janata Party is saying that it is this bill is their big narrative as far as fight against corruption is concerned. Whereas the opposition is saying that they're going by the misuse of the ED and the CBI. This is one thing which will be very easy for the ruling dispensation to do. And the real reason why this bill was introduced is to put the opposition leader in dock. Well, I think today by naming Arvind Kejriwal in Kerala and also by taking laying great deal of emphasis on this particular bill by Prime Minister, one thing is very clear, that this is going to be a dominant narrative as far as elections in both Bihar and Kerala is concerned. Shweta?
Absolutely, a dominant narrative and I think it sets the stage for what could be by the way of politics going forward in Kerala as well as Bihar. But I have to quote what you mentioned, and that's very important as far as the provisions of law for all those sitting chief ministers as well as ministers is concerned. Brijesh, I'll come to you in just a bit. I'm given to understand RP Singh is joining us on the phone line. Mr. Singh, your first thoughts, sir, on the bill, and what are you making of how it is difficult for implementation, but also what are you making of it by the way of a bill that could stand out as far as nailing down corrupt netas is concerned? And the Home Minister there clearly pointing out that this comes in the light of Arvind Kejriwal running the government from jail despite being in jail for more than 30 days.
Well, there is always a chance of improvement. There is always a chance of rebuilding your systems. And this is part of that, where Mr. Kejriwal virtually mocked the constitution by running the government and administration from the jail, which he was not able to do. But still, he said, "I am the chief minister, and I'll keep running the government from here." And as far as that, there was a total collapse of administration outside. But he didn't resign, and he didn't deputed someone else to be the chief minister. So that led to this thought that if someone can play with the constitution like this, so there has to be check and balances for that. And this bill does the check and balance in a system. But
okay.
not
what are the check and balance, Mr. Singh, if you could help us understand? Because the allegation that the ruling government is facing at the moment, that this bill can be misutilized against any opposition members.
Let me give you an example. If I'm right, you're Shweta, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, you run a show on TV9. So I want to say that you by chance you were sent to jail for some reason. God bless, it should not happen, but it happens. Tomorrow you say, "I'll run my show from my jail." It's not possible. So this is what has led to this, that if there are politicians who are corrupt politicians and they want to mock the constitution, then what's the option left with the government?
Okay, but what are the checks and balances, sir?
Well, check and balance is that man has to resign within 30 days of 30 days being in jail, and 30 days is good enough a time to take a bail. If court wants to give him bail, court will give them the bail. And also, this is not only confined to Arvind Kejriwal or there are Lalu Yadav, likes of Lalu Yadav.
Okay.
It's related to Amritpal and Engineer Rashid also.
Okay.
So,
and what if they're found to be innocent subsequent to an investigation and after due process of law?
So they can be reinstated.
Okay.
There's a provision therefore to be reinstate them, and then the president itself can reinstate them. They don't need to go for re-election.
All right, Mr. RP Singh, thank you very much, sir, for taking time out for joining us on the show. Brijesh, you heard what RP Singh had to say. He's saying, while you're in the jail, resign, and you can always come back once you're found to be innocent.
Well, one thing I agree that the fact of the matter is that yes, it's a very sorry spectacle of abuse of power when you see a sitting chief minister or a sitting minister, who has been sentenced to jail, still occupying the post of the minister, of a minister or of a chief minister or a prime minister. It sends a very bad signal as far as the thriving democracy of India is concerned. But there's another part B to it. It's very easy to say that that if court finds you not guilty, you can easily be reinstated. We have seen enough examples in political life that once you demit office, chances for you to make a comeback, and the process of the entire criminal investigation and the process in the judiciary takes enough time for the entire stint to pass. Suppose for example, if a case takes 4.5 years or 5 years or of 3.5 years and you are declared innocent, by the time the assembly is adjourned sine die and a new assembly election is announced, then where are you? Where exactly are you vis-a-vis your reinstation or vis-a-vis your being again made as a MLA or a minister? So I mean that aspect has to be looked into or factored into. But yes, this bill has definitely raised a fresh salvo and a fresh war of words as far as opposition and the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned. Shweta?
A fresh war of words as far as opposition and Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned. The BJP making it absolutely clear that we do not want netas, including chief ministers and the Prime Minister, to make decisions while they are in jail. A 30-day window has been given, post which if a concerned minister does not resign themselves, they will be let go of. So drastic provisions there as far as the criminal netas bill is concerned. Much needed, Brijesh, for that matter, in a country where, as you pointed out, there are chief ministers and ministers who continue to make decisions sitting in jail.
Well, there have been several instances. For example, I would like to quote one example, when Uma Bharti was the chief minister and she had to resign. Later on, the entire political scenario underwent a big change and she never got to become the chief minister. There's also a case of Hemant Soren. So, there are several such cases where we have seen how, the process of law is not something which you can say that the entire process can be completed within 6 months or 1 year's time. Law takes its own time, and rightly so, because you would not want to prosecute a man who is innocent, or you would not want to let go of a man who is guilty. So I'm saying that this particular bill, on the face of it, looks very lofty, but as Mr. R.P. Singh was saying, that this bill was not aimed at Lalu Prasad Yadav or Arvind Kejriwal. I think Home Minister Amit Shah has made it very, very clear that what exactly was the trigger behind the introduction of this bill. Even if you look at if you hear what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said, that people are signing files from the jail and all. I mean, it was it was crystal clear. Even to the uninitiated, that that he was referring to Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal.
And it's also important to note that as per the existing law, if this bill does not come to fruition, an elected representative can only be removed if they are found guilty. So now what really essentially changes is whether you're guilty or you're innocent. If you are in custody, if you are in jail for an extended period of 30 days, you will be removed from your post, no matter whether you're guilty or you're found to be innocent later. If you're found to be innocent later, you will be reinstated. But I think, Brijesh, all of us are well aware of how difficult it is to come back to power. And sometimes the legal process can drag on for years and years. And by that time, your tenure dies down. You've essentially lost time for which you should be ruling.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, this is the reason why, the previous law was very, very clear that until and unless you are convicted, you do not get removed as a member of Legislative Assembly or a member of Parliament. And, it's only the decision is overturned or you get reinstated only when a superior court or a higher court overturns the judgment of the lower court. But here it is just that if the court finds you guilty enough to send you to jail for more than 30 days, you get to demit office. And, we all know that, the politics, especially politics in India, is an ever-evolving thing, and you don't know what will happen to you once even if you secure a conviction, or even if you are released by the court saying that there's no case against you, the world would have changed beneath your feet, and that is a big concern as far as most of these member of parliaments and ministers and chief ministers are concerned. Shweta?
Absolutely. Brijesh, stay with us for the uninitiated joining us on the show. Let me quickly break down what changes by the way of the bill. The bill seeks to amend Article 75, 164 and 239AA of the Indian Constitution. According to what changes will be made, the 130th Constitutional Amendment Bill says that all these changes would result in case of Chief Minister who for any period of 30 consecutive days during holding an office as such is arrested and detained in custody on allegations of committing an offence under any law for the time in force, which is punishable with imprisonment, shall tender resignation by the 31st day after such arrest and detention. And if he or she does not tender resignation, he or she shall cease to be the Chief Minister with effect from the day falling thereafter. So on the 31st day, they will be automatically removed from their position. This bill will be extended to ministers, chief ministers, as well as Prime Minister himself, for that matter. Parliament, Brijesh, this is interesting because Prime Minister essentially saying there that this bill does not really apply only to, ministers in various states. It doesn't only apply to chief ministers. So while also naming Arvind Kejriwal there, but essentially saying that I am also within the purview of the law.
Well, yes, he is within the purview of the law. Once this becomes law, everyone will be within the purview of the law. But the fact of the matter is that, that it changes the way, the entire BNS as you look at it. It's a very bold move on the part of the Bharatiya Janata Party. I would say that, a lot also depends on the use and the misuse of the investigative agencies as well. Because, 30 days, the fact of the matter is that, the certain PMLA provisions which later on went on to acquire a draconian image makeover as far as functioning of Enforcement Directorate is concerned. The law of the land says you are innocent till proven guilty. The draconian PMLA provisions literally made that you are guilty till you are proven innocence. So the fact is that, if somebody is arrested and bundled with the new changed, such process and you are bundled behind bars for 30 days, I mean, you automatically get disqualified. But if you get your entire conviction gets overturned, then who stands to gain and who stands to lose? So I think, I mean, these are practical teething problems as far as this particular bill is concerned. Right now the government is in power, but as you know, as if you remember, when P. Chidambaram, Home Minister P. Chidambaram, former Home Minister P. Chidambaram was arrested and sent behind bars. Many said that he was the one who beefed and made this entire provisions of Enforcement Directorate and gave it more teeth. And those were the same teeth which came back to bite him. So it's in politics. It's very strange that you do not know that for what provisions what you're getting this bill and how 6 months down the line or 6 years down the line it can come back to bite you. Shweta?
And it may just so happen, Brijesh, but for now I think BJP there on front foot trying to come up with a bill which it says will prevent corrupt netas from holding on to their positions and signing files from jail, and that's the message there coming in. Thank you very much for putting it in perspective, for breaking it down for us, for what it would mean to implement a bill of this nature. For now it will be sent to select committee, so perhaps could be introduced once again in the next session of Lok Sabha.